Did I not hit it?
I don't think you just didn't turn the volume on. Now it's good.
Oh, I did hit that. That was the first thing I hit. We got ghosts and farts in the, in the live stream or something. Anyway, hey, welcome. If you'd like to join us, please do. In the waning days of Poundcake's tenure here at the Alan Cox Show. 216-578-1007 or 800-348-1007 if you want to send me a text. I'll see those. That is 35192. Text me there if you're listening on iHeartRadio, on the app. Little talkback button there. You can leave messages as well. Had a little meeting with the Muckety Mucks today about the Poundcake situation and what our next steps are. And a little bit of good news came out of it. I think you had the conversation with them. Yes, Poundcake?
Quickly, I was trying to go get my lunch.
He was trying to get his lunch. Yeah, right. Well, we kind of, even though Poundcake's leaving because he got himself a full-time job, we're not going to be in a situation, I guess they found a way to kind of keep him as a freelancer, for lack of a better term. Am I understanding that correctly? We've
the lines of communication are open.
Right, so that they won't immediately, like, when you leave this company, they remove you from the system, and it's a whole thing. So the conversations that we've had are that occasionally, when the mood should strike, Poundcake could hang out with us, or because you're still going to be the Pride guy, is that right? You're still doing Pride Radio for
Pride
the app?
Radio Cleveland, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so that's exciting. I mean, he won't be here every day, but, life goes on, and he's got stuff to do. And someday when they roll my old ass out of here, they're going to need somebody to take over, Poundcake. And so that's going to make you.
So I have a new boss. Oh, my God. I'm excited to know who he'll be.
Mm-hmm. No, it'll be you. You'll be in here. It'll be
With
the Poundcake
who?
Show. Huh? No, I don't know.
But who will be the host?
You.
Oh, you're saying me?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that someday when they roll my old ass out of here, maybe they'll come to you and they'll say, hey, we really like what you're doing over there at Pride Radio. Yeah.
Big old HD station.
Right.
Putting the HD in HD.
Putting the D in HD. HD radios. God, that was going to be like the next big thing. It's on the app, though, right? They used to call them HD stations, but I don't know if they call them that anymore, do they? Does it have an over-the-air translator, Pride Radio?
You have to have
You've got to have the HD radio.
Or you can look it up online.
Yeah. Yeah, about 15 years ago, boy, high-def radios, that was going to be, it was kind of pre-apps and everything else, but I know that this company and a couple of other ones had made some pretty sizable investments in HD radio, which is technically still a thing. People who don't have, there were a lot of expansion into like HD side television channels. There's still people that just have the rabbit ears or whatever, but on most television now that you buy, you can get a whole bunch of channels, even if you're not subscribing to a cable package or anything like that. There's just channels that are through the air. And so there are a lot of, so all of us who've been in the radio business for a long time, we all have an HD radio somewhere in a cardboard box in our basement. Because radio companies were passing them out like chiclets 15, 20 years ago. So mine is probably somewhere in the basement. So I could dig that out. I could fire it up. And I would be able to tune in to Pride Radio. Is that I understand that correctly?
Yeah.
I'd be able to tune in.
And if enough people do that, then we'll save Poundcake's job. We just need 3 or 4 million people to do that.
Ferris Bueller. Yeah.
Someone Zach, who's a P1 guy for us, he said, they can find a way to freelance him, but won't pay up enough for him to make full-time money?
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
that's
the thing, too, is that because that won't change his pay scale, obviously, but he can kind of dip in and out. And it's kind of what a lot of people don't understand about how this works is the way that this show is structured in a certain way that there's no Poundcake's position is not a full-time position. You know what I mean? I mean, that's something.
I'm only here I'm only obligated to be here
during
the hours of the show.
That is not people think, why don't they just make him full-time? It's not what it is. This show
and I will say
has Yes.
Well, I was gonna say this. I don't want to be treated differently than anyone else. All my brothers.
Too late for that.
Well, all my brothers in the radio have dealt kind of with the same thing, and I was the one that was none the wiser. Like most people, thinking back on it, it should have been. I'm looking at it like the housewives of Atlanta, the housewives of Orange County. They already are rich. The medium in which they use the reality show is based on their lives. They're not. Yes, they make money from the reality show, but that is not their bread and butter. I should have done something else. I'm not. It wasn't a shot at Bill or Mary to say they come on the show to promote their comedy. That is how they make their living, and in addition, they are on the radio.
Yeah, we have to supplement our income.
So I should
comedy.
have. This was a hobby, something that I was really passionate about, that I just so happened to get hired in on a platform, a huge platform.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that is why, for people who recall, Poundcake's been with us about 8.5 years. When he was fresh on the show, first he was an intern, then we brought him on the show. That's why I hammered you so incessantly in the earlier days about getting your tape together and getting it out to radio stations, because you had made it clear that's what you wanted to do. And the thing with this business is, and I know everybody who's ever been on the Cleveland iteration of the Alan Cox Show, everyone that's ever been on the show with me, this was their first job in radio. But for those of us been doing it a long time, when you want to make more money, you pack your crap and move to another city. That's how it works. So Poundcake's position is it's not even an option to be. So it's a real bummer. But again, in the early days, that's kind of why I was always hammering you about that stuff. And then it kind of became clear that maybe your priorities had changed, and maybe it wasn't,
my priorities.
The business changed and your priorities changed.
I was going to say the industry changed because there's no guarantees in life, period. But it's especially a gamble. You're moving to, again, if I were to move, it would be a bigger market. That's not necessarily bigger money. It might actually be even harder. And regardless whether you get ratings or not, whether you get fired from your job or not, being a tenant, they still expect rent. Like your landlord still expects rent. So you got to have something else too. I feel like people who move now out of state, they're people of means, or they know someone who can sleep on a couch. Or they can sleep on their couch. That's just.
You mean people in the industry?
Yeah.
Well, no, not people of means. There are still people getting hired all the time at radio stations around this country. There's always people still packing and moving. I mean, I think you're better off if it's just you. I feel bad for people.
Have families
We just had a colleague here who got let go about a week or so ago at one of our other radio stations, and this is a dude with a wife and kids, and and it gets harder and harder to. But again, if you're living that life, it's tough to go home and go, well, honey, we got to sell the house or whatever.
I will say this, Poundcake could have started that OnlyFans he was always talking about. Then you could still be doing radio.
Yeah, but he clearly didn't want to do that. And I think the fact that.
He even sent a nude. Why? First, never mind. Forget it.
No, I give you credit for going to great lengths to avoid the very easy money to be made from OnlyFans. You know how easy that money is, but it's not cheap money, right? It's easy, potentially, but there's a cost to it.
And also, I feel like if I were to do something like that, which it's not even in the realm of possibility of me doing something like that, so you can get that out of your head right now. But I would want to have my body in tip-top shape. That takes a lot of money, whether it be meal prepping,
you can work out at home.
And you can work out at home, but you still need to buy the equipment to be in tip-top shape.
But you don't need much. You need I started in a new gym this week. You need
I
push.
You started in OnlyFans this week. I was like, damn.
I sure did, baby. That's right. No. You need variations on 4 or 5 movements, and you're good to go. But to your point, I mean, there are all kinds of people that don't have a lot of money who are in amazing shape because they've done it themselves. And, abs are made in the kitchen. You could figure that out. But you're not going to do OnlyFans. That's fine. It's become such a reflex now with people, and it started as a goof, but there's fewer and fewer people actually goofing now, where they go, I'm going to start an OnlyFans.
It's a way to promote.
It's a legitimate thing now. I mean, the more people that get on it, the harder it is to kind of cut through the noise. But
when you have a lot of people curious about you, then you're gonna get more subs than most people.
The guys that I follow are usually like personal trainers who haven't built up enough clientele yet, so they show off their body because they want to be worshipped, and then they get a lot of gay clientele. Either they subscribe to their OnlyFans or they're getting bookings. Pardon the pun, like out the ass because
is worshipped a gay term?
No, worshipped.
Worshipped.
Worshipped. You sunk my warship. No, he's whatever. That's how he says worship, Bill.
Oh, okay.
They want to be worshipped.
Well, maybe it's not so bad. He's getting out of radio.
But he's not. He's freelancing.
Freelancing.
Yes.
Hey. Now you're your own boss. Nothing can stop you now.
Be around.
Maybe you can
That's
freelance for some sports stations around town since you're the best sports talker.
There you go. The only